So after watching lots of YouTube videos on like people's what I sewed in a year, I thought I'd do the same thing, just to like kind of keep a diary of all the things that I sew. I also decided I'm going to show all the things that I made pretty much, even if some of them are going to get thrown out just for like posterity. So I kind of started out wanting to make leotards, and so like I made a few small ones, just kind of freehanding a pattern. Oh, it was based on one pattern, but I didn't really like it. Like this is quite long, and I put a straight skirt, and the original pattern had a really deep V there that I didn't like. But this one, it's okay, but the torso is too long for any child, I think. And then I also made like this one, although the material doesn't really have as much stretch as I think it needs. And this one is fine, but I think I freehanded the skirt a wee bit, trying to get a bit more float in. So I just added more at the sides, and that's obviously not the right way to go about that. So these ones I didn't even bother putting elastic in. I'm just going to cut them up and use them for more scraps. This is kind of the first big kids rhythmic one that I made, which is quite cute from afar. I think it's quite nice actually. This is just from the purple and blue are both shirts from the op shop, and with the purple pant underneath. So I actually think it's quite cute, although I was just thinking before what I might do is just give it into the op shop, because even though it's like handmade and kind of not perfectly made, I think some little kid will see that and want it. So that's what I might do with that one. I also made another leotard with a heart on it that Jono bought for Matilda, so I'll show that as well later. I made this as kind of just trying to figure out a pattern for a Lauren size leotard. So I just freehanded the pattern as well. This is quite nice, apart from I like nicked the material, so there's a wee hole in it somewhere. I didn't put nicks in the round neckline, so with the elastic got put in, it's really warped. And also a little bit about the skirt. The skirt is inset into it, so it was 3 different pieces, but I think it's quite a severe like roll at the back. Maybe I will have this wear it to show, but I'm not sure. So this is kind of okay, but not really wearable for anything. It was good practice. Other leotards I made, I really like this one. I think it's super cute. It looks like ice skating leotard or something. The only thing, I washed it with, I think, some black fabric, so this isn't as nude as it was. And the only thing with this, I really like it, but I think this skirt, again, the lines for the skirt wasn't quite right, so it kind of folds and looks a bit odd. But that's a shame. I love this material. I haven't found it again. It was super cheap, but yeah, I'd love to reuse this material. I think that's very cool. And this one, which is my first attempt at sleeves, so I learnt a lot. I think the main thing I learned with these is that you must have a hole here and then sharply come straight in to the arm. But yeah, I thought this would look quite cool, and I feel like it's still maybe usable like on the stage or something. But the only thing is, this is like stretchy velvet material, and I didn't really know much about threads or needles and stuff at that point when I made it, so the stitching is dreadful. If you look up close, there's all these ridiculous things. And also because it was just an offcut, the material was super cheap. This arm, the nap is going the wrong way because it was the only way that I could fit it on the material. So that's the main thing that's quite bad. And I think again, I freehanded this pattern again, and I wanted to like really widely cover the butt, so I kind of like made it round out here, and that just is not the right way to do it. It just, see if it stretches, it just gets a little bit of a kind of a fold here and doesn't actually sit the way that it's intended to. So like there's definitely a few things wrong with that, which is a shame because it would look pretty cool far away on stage. The one leotard that is like my leotard, so this is the one that I wore this for Masters Games because I really liked it. I know that I made this and then I pretty much completely redid it. I think I did restitch this on. So I think I redid pretty much every single piece of it. So that's all redone. I know I took the pant off and replaced it with black spandex, which is completely the right decision. It was so comfortable to wear. I think, and then I redid all the elastic stitching because I kind of figured out how to do that a bit better. Like it's just single fold over the top. I think it looks really nice on the inside as well. Yeah, it's quite nicely done, but just because the spandex is so easy to work with, I guess. The one thing that I don't like about it, but that I'm not going to do again, is that the arm, this is really wide. So I think that could probably come in, but otherwise I think it's really cool, and I think I'll keep it because you just never know when you need another leotard. Another like adult leotard that I made, I call this one Lauren size. So this one, because I just freehanded the pattern. So this one I really like. It's all black spandex apart from this hollow material, which doesn't really have that much of a stretch to it. The skirt is kind of like a chair. I kind of refer to it as like the black hollow chair leotard because the skirt is kind of cut up, and so it's made of the black hollow material. So when you move, you get a flash of the hollow underneath. So yeah, it's all black spandex and everything's just folded over once. This is another one I've redone pretty much every single stitch on this after I learned how to stitch a bit better. So the skirt is inset into the leotard, and then yeah, all of this stuff, all of the stitching around the outside got redone to make it look a whole lot nicer with stretch needles and polyester thread. That's the trick. One more leotard that I did recently that I'm not totally sure is finished or not is this red flame one. So this is the first one that I did using a kind of pattern that I really like. I paid lots of money online for like a leotard block. So it gives me a block size for UK size 4, 6, 8, 10 up to like 24 or something. So this is a proper UK size 10 leotard. And so it's meant to work with spandex. Yeah, so I think I had a bit of issues with the stitching, kind of folding things. Everything kind of twists underneath the stitches. It kind of pulls it together and puckers in a strange way. I'm not quite sure how to fix that yet. And then also the block, obviously it's just a block, it's not a pattern, so I brought the arms in a little bit. It also had a really low cut, it's the low cut hip block, and so I brought that up a bit. So it's more reasonable pant on it. I'm just trying to figure out how I want to put skirts on top instead of being cut in, or even if they are cut in, kind of what the line needs to be and what the skirt line needs to be so that it sits nicely on the body and doesn't like roll. At the moment the back really rolls up and the front a little bit as well. And kind of anything I change, it just keeps doing that. So the rest of it, the like red mesh was a shirt from the Alp shop which I painted. So it's really cool. I think it'd be really cool from far away, like especially if it gets stoned. I think it would be really cool for the right music. I think I probably will sell this, but for quite cheap because it's not quite right, but I think it will be usable. So I think those are all the leotards. So I kind of started with leotards and have been working on a few as well, but I thought I really just need to chill out, learn how to properly sew before I start making too many. So what I started with is I actually, maybe there's one shirt I did beforehand, but largely I started with like sweaters. I wanted to remake this one, which I wear all the time. which is from Huffer. Just a black sweater, easy peasy, and so I kind of drew patterns based on this. So what I kind of came out with, this is one of the first ones, this was the first one actually that I did, which is kind of okay. The issues with this one is, again, I didn't have the amount of fabric that I needed, so the grain goes this way on the body and also this way on the sleeve, which is not right, not what I want, but it was good to learn as well anyway. I redid this. I thought that is ugly with the sleeves going the wrong way, so I thought that I would redo it. The redone one ended up being this. So I made this as a redo. It was a fully black sweater as well, and then at that point I actually had some issues with one of these other shirts, which we'll come to later, but when I made the revelation that I need to pre-wash my fabric, and so I thought, alright, I'll bite the bullet and put these in the wash. I put them both in the wash and they both shrunk lengthways quite a bit, so that sweater is actually quite short. So this one, everything was going the right way, so that it meant that it shrunk in the body and the sleeves. So it was not really wearable, and I was kind of thinking what I wanted to do with these. I thought that I would just cut them into pillowcases for a square pillowcase cover, but I didn't actually have enough material to do that. And I had wanted to do one of these that is kind of like split colours, and then I had the, again, revelation. I could just cut this one and put in insets, which I did. So took a little bit of kind of pattern planning and then finagling to make it work. So I think the body is okay. It's kind of has a weird, one of the sides wasn't quite right because I had to really measure the inset pieces against the cut, the top and bottom, and then think about how much space I wanted to add. So that's why the sleeves look a bit wonky, is because obviously that angle, you know, it's not really able to add that in and keep the angles correct. So it's the best that I could. It looks a bit big, perhaps like when I wear it like this, but I still really like it, and I do wear it all the time. This is one of the ones that has gone straight into my wardrobe that I wear, even though it's a bit off. I still think it's doable, and I really like the way it looks. I also did piping, you can see. So it's my first go at piping. I think the grey was really cool. I did it without like a piping or a zipper foot or anything, so I just used my normal foot, and that's why it looks a bit puckered, I think, along the piping. There's also some idiotic parts where I like cut the piping too short, so there's a random bit added, but you can't see. I really like it. I think that this is one that, like, after I kind of wear it out, I think it's something that I will remake, because I think this style really suits me. I really like it. So after that one, I got more black, and I remade the two sweaters, the two black sweaters that I had, which ended up being these two. So these should be quite nicely sized with correct grain sweaters that I wanted. I also initially put these on the right side, but I think it's more common that they go on the left. So I did that for these ones as well. These ones aren't in the rotation of being wearable yet, but like when the Huffer one really goes, then I'll swap them in. I also made a pink one, and then I already had those Neat Dude appliques, but I wanted a nice little applique for this one, so we ended up going with the wee cute heart card. Again, this one is not in the wearable rotation just yet, but it will be eventually. I will go with the last sweater type thing that I made, which is this pink hoodie. This is gone straight into the wearable rotation. I really like it. Yeah, I wear it all the time. I'm kind of surprised. So I did, this is from a pattern that I found. It's Quixo 2993. Most of my patterns are from the op shop. So it's actually required a wee bit of hacking because these both are made for zips. So it also has a raglan sleeve, which I didn't think that I would like at all, but I really do. So I'm definitely going to keep that pattern. It's really good. I like it. But I will keep, I think I'll perfect my pattern hacks and then keep that. I think it's more important because you can see I took the zip out. I think I did something weird with this, but anyway, but because there's no zip at the top, I needed to change the hood, which I didn't think about initially, and I had to redo the hood. So obviously if there's a zip, the hood is going to be on either sides of the zip, and I really wanted it to cross over in the front like this, like most hoodies do. So I needed to kind of extend the hood and make that a bit angled at the front. Then it worked, and then I also had to put in these dome things. One of the little errors is you can kind of see a bit of the interfacing in the front there, but that's fine, not that. I also used my twin needle for the first time to go over all the joints, which I think really needs to be done. It finishes off quite nicely. I also wanted this cord to like match the pink exactly, but ended up just having to go with whatever the best that I could find, which I'm actually really glad about. I feel like this adds a little bit of, like with the other sweaters, how I kind of hit the applique to just like finish it off. I feel like this other colour here on the cords actually finishes off really well. So I'm super excited about that one. I wear that all the time. I will talk about one of these. I'll talk about this top first. This is one of the first things that I made. Actually, this might have been the first thing that I made of like clothing. So I really like this top that I own. It's from New Balance. It's just a big boxy tee that's really like this. And also I have a like woven top as well that's really similar. So that's a pattern that I like and wear a lot. So I wanted to make, I don't have any white tops as well. So I really had a image of this white double cheesecloth, just a nice white top. It's pretty see-through, so I put one layer of material on the front, this one. This is before I had my overlocker fit, so that's why you can see lots of these, because I didn't have any way of kind of finishing things nicely. I also hand drew this pattern, which actually is quite nice. And then I used bias binding for like the first time on the neckline as well. So I guess I learned a lot from it. But then this is the main thing that I then put in the wash and was like, no. So it's kind of more cropped than I had planned on it being. It's still cute and wearable, but I thought that I would try and remake it. So I remade it into this. Instead of the rounded neckline, I wanted to put in a V-neck. It's a bit longer because it's not initially meant to be cropped. And I guess my sleeves on it are okay. The thing with this one is it is completely lined, and it's completely lined quite nicely, to be honest. I think, however, I'm going to remake this again. I don't even think it's worth taking this apart. I'm just going to, because the cheesecloth actually, if it's on sale, should only be like $10. I'll just remake it completely. I freehanded this pattern again. I think the neckline, like this size, is quite nice. I think I need to figure out how to redo this V better. It does look quite nice, but it has a kind of a strange pucker like on this side when you wear it, so not good enough for me. The sleeves are kind of a bit odd too. I'm not quite sure how to fix those. I didn't use my twin needle, but I just kind of went over these sleeves, I guess kind of to combine it with the lining, but it just looks shockingly bad. I also aligned the whole thing in quite a light white material, which is really nice and comfy. However, it is stretchy and the cheesecloth isn't, and I think that was a mistake as well, because it was really hard to match the pieces up, because one would stretch, one would not. Also with my nice like decorative stitching from the outside, it kind of like the lining wasn't nicely aligned underneath, and so it's got kind of weird folds and stuff. I think that this is one that I can do better. I think it would be like quite a nice wardrobe staple. That's the whole point of me making it and remaking it. I think it's worth doing for a third time, maybe based off pattern. So Ashley found a free t-shirt pattern online, which I got. It's called the Juicy Tee from True Bias, I think. And so I made this. This is actually one that I made initially freehand, then hated it. The sleeves looked a bit odd, and I did lots of good work, like kind of covering all the seams and things like that, but it just wasn't good enough. And so I thought I would remake it because I had my eye on this material for ages. So I thought I will remake it with the pattern. I'll just give up and use an actual pattern. And so I did, and this worked out quite nicely. The pattern's quite nice, but I was just really over it. And then you can see I did the neckline without ironing it first, and I think that was a mistake. And I think that makes it not wearable pretty much. I think there's some teeny tiny, I think there's like a little small, teeny tiny bit of a stitching error at the back there, but nobody's going to see that but me. The sleeves are actually quite nice, well, I guess because they was based on pattern, but it's actually, the material is kind of, it looks really good and it looks quite me, but I think it's not got the like feel that I wanted when I was wearing it. It feels kind of like too cool for how thick it is. But this is one I think I'm just gonna get rid of. Like maybe it can go to the op shop, but I think that neckline is a bit not good enough. I think these ones I'm just gonna throw out or chop up. Those tees. I then used that Juicy Tee pattern again to make this, which this material I'm pretty sure I got for $3 at the op shop for like a wee bit more than this, just enough for tea. I really like this, so I'm pretty happy. There's still a few mistakes on this. It has clear elastic in the shoulders to hopefully stop it, so that it will like stop the stretching, so that it will last longer. It's quite nicely hemmed. The little stitching errors, there's like a little wiggle in the bottom that nobody's going to see, and actually it took me even ages to see it, but there's some skip stitches on the neckline which I'm a bit annoyed about, but I really like the neckline itself. It's really cool. I have a t-shirt that's really similar to this, so I kind of put this on to finish it. We logo for Comedy Gaston, so hopefully, well, like I think that people will just kind of take that at face value that it probably is that brand. I think it makes it look complete, and I think it just looks nice. This is actually one of the things that I made from a pattern first, and I thought I really just need to stop hand making these patterns. So this was actually a wrap dress. The idea of it essentially went over like an apron and then wrapped behind. So I did make that. I made that following the pattern very nicely, but then I didn't like it. I thought I'm never going to wear that ever. So I changed it. I still had some of the fabric left. And so I added in, I took off the top, front, added in another panel for length so that it really wraps around without fear of it kind of coming open. I put bias tape on the front to finish these edges and to add a bit of weight, holding it down. And so it's just a wrap skirt with a kind of angled floor to it. So which that's really quite cute. So I think I'm not sure how much I'll wear skirts like that, but I'll wear the skirt way more than I would the apron dress. This is one that like it wasn't really aiming to make a t-shirt. What I did this based off a bodice block made to my measurements. So I followed a YouTube video, made a bodice block for me, and then I use that bodice block to try and make a top of the tank. The idea is to make a dress that's like this at the top and then just extends longer. So I want to try and figure out how to do that. It was really interesting. Yeah, really interesting about getting these like angle triangles right, and darts in this side for the sleeve too. So I learned quite a lot about this, and I actually really am surprised at how much I like the material. So this, it kind of was a dress, and then I would change the bodice and then like chop that off and redo it. So it kind of just got shorter and shorter and shorter until this. I really like it. I'm happy with the pattern that I kind of had. The only thing is, again, at the end I got a bit pissed off and bored with it, and then just there's this tiny bit at the front where it's like not folded over nicely. So there's a teeny bit of kind of like unfinished material at the front, which I kind of think makes it unwearable. And then looking now, I put the strips on quite sloppily, even though I completely hand turned inside out these straps because I didn't have safety pins. But this was a really, really good project for like figuring out the pattern, which I'll hopefully get around to on the full dress one day. The plan for the dress is for it to be like this with pockets, but also be lined with a different material so that you can wear it inside out or front ways. So I think the last thing, okay, I'll show you two more things. Oh yeah, I kind of used this pattern. One more thing that I kind of put a decent amount of effort in and then didn't finish is I wanted to make a long sleeve top out of this, but I don't like it. I'm not going to finish it. Another one that I just finished the other day was this wrap dress from Vogue American designer Calvin Klein 1665. So this is a size 12, which I think on the back it said that it's meant to fit me, and it does fit me quite well. But so I made it out of this cool material here, which I really love the material. So kind of like here is the wrap dress. It's kind of hard to show, but I guess I learned some really cool things on this. I didn't totally follow the pattern completely because I didn't understand it all, and I didn't want to hand stitch anything. So I guess some cool things that it has is that like the skirts in the front part here has interfacing in it, which is really cool. I like that, giving it a bit of heaviness to keep it down. The part I hated the most about this was that these are all like folded pleats. I think they're just meant to stay being ironed down, but they wouldn't, so I stitched them all down, which I think was the right decision. And then I guess this bottom piece is quite cool. I had the rest of it kind of came flipped up, stitched on the side, and then you turn it inside out to kind of finish that edge off. And then you stitch this part across the bottom, you stitch that all up as well. Just finish it off. These seams are completely unfinished. I'm not sure what I was meant to do with those. And also this band in the middle is quite nice. I have it kind of different material because I didn't have enough. Again, that was kind of weird that you have to stitch around that all at the end, but I think I would have done that anyway just to make sure. Part that I really liked actually is in the band. This has a buttonhole here just for the band to come through when it wraps around, which is really nice, and I quite like. I guess this is what it looks like in the back, so I think it's all quite nice. I'm quite happy with that. I guess I will try it on to insert in here. So that is pretty much everything I've made. The last thing, I've gone over all those. The last thing I made, which is the funniest thing, was this Berta ski shirt. So it's 4416, and it's giant sizes. So I think it says the corresponding sizes is 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22. So I guess it's unisex as well. But I made the biggest one and that was huge. I ended up cutting it back to the smaller size and then cutting it smaller still. But I made this for Ashley's Christmas present. So instead of, it looks like it's kind of windbreaker material, but I went for a different type of material, a teddy fleece kind of material, and then I lined it with brown fleece as well, which I think makes it look so good. Something, I guess, it had welt pockets in the front. I couldn't follow this, so I ended up following a different kind of method that I got off YouTube that worked quite well. So it has two separate welt pockets with different pocket bags, and then the front is lined so you kind of can't access the pocket bags from the inside. I think, I'm not quite sure how I would do it, but I would kind of prefer it to have two welt pockets that go into the same pocket space, but I can't imagine how that would even work. But yeah, I'm really kind of happy with this, the stitching was really bad because of the material, it covered it up really well. And I also got to use a lot of random cottons and threads that I had because it kind of went with the theme. Like, they were colours that were in the fabric anyway, which is really cool. So I got to use like brown, green and purple thread, which I wouldn't really use otherwise. And the material hid it all really well as well. There's one small issue with the zip at the front. I think I ended up using a zip that kind of came completely apart at the bottom, so it meant I couldn't finish it properly, but I think that is fine anyway. So I think that's it. That's all I made for 2022, I believe.